Welcome back to Bridge 4 as we continue our detailed summary recap of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time book series. Today's video covers the journey from their campsite north of the Tarn River to the city of Bairlon, Chapter 13, Choices. This chapter picks up with the group of 7 in the Cave of Trees after they escaped from the Myrddraal, Trollocs, and Drogkar. Moiraine used the power to heal everybody, except herself. Egwene loved it, but the boys were scared by it, yet too scared to say no to Moiraine. Lan said she didn't have to help him, but she did anyway, and Tom scowled through the entire thing. After just 1 hour of sleep, Lan woke everyone except for Moiraine. They cleared all traces of ever having been there, mounted their horses, and rode north to Bairlon, riding slowly to conserve their horses, and it's worth noting, Moiraine's magical fog still held firm, up and down the river behind them. The kids had never been so far from Emond's Field, causing Rand to enter a waking dream, memories of Emond's Field and Beltane, the way it had been. The journey to Bairlon took almost a week, and during that time, Lan and his horse, named Mandarb, or Blade in the Old Tongue, covered twice the distance as everyone else, scouting ahead and examining their back trail too. And Lan would get on their case anytime anyone will let their horses move at more than a walking pace, including Moiraine and her horse named Aldib, or West Wind in the Old Tongue, the wind that brought the spring rains. Although their week-long journey was slow, it was not easy, as Lan had them circle for miles to avoid any sign of men or civilization. During their first stop, Lan began teaching the boys what to do with the weapons they carried, starting with the bow. All 3 of the boys were great at the bow, especially Rand, who summoned the flame in the void, the empty calm that let the bow become a part of him, or him of it. Lan also gave Perrin tips with his axe, and did the same for Rand and his sword, telling him, moving the blade is not enough, though some think it is. The mind is part of it, most of it. Blank your mind, sheepherder. Empty it of hate or fear, of everything. Burn them away. He told Mat and Perrin that you could do the same with any weapon, axe or bow, spear, quarterstaff, or even your bare hands. This philosophy reminded Rand of his father's teachings in regards to the bow, the mental state that Tam had referred to as the flame and the void. During the evenings, Lan wouldn't let Tom play the flute or harp, but Tom entertained the group by juggling or telling stories such as Anla the Wise Counselor, or an adventure with a happy ending such as the Great Hunt of the Horn. One morning, Egwene awoke and unbraided her hair, highlighting that she was changing, and part of that stemmed from her private chats with Moiraine Sedai each night. Elaine told Rand that she unbraided it because Aes Sedai don't braid their hair, at least not unless they want to, and she would be Aes Sedai just as soon as they reached their destination, Tar Valon. It confused Rand and asked her why, since Egwene is no dark friend, and Egwene's response was basically, grow up, Rand. Forget the stories and use your eyes. Moiraine is not a dark friend. She saved the village. Their argument grew in volume until everyone was listening. Whoops, Rand thought, trying to recall what he had said about Aes Sedai and dark friends. 2 nights later, with the fire burning low, while Lan was off scouting and Egwene was off speaking with Moiraine, Rand, Perrin, and Mat had a chat of their own. Mat was carefree, assuming they were no longer being followed, and excitedly commented on seeing a real city, not just the one they were headed to, Bairlon, but places like Ilion, since Ilion wasn't full of Aes. He cut off, mouth still open, as Moiraine and Egwene returned to the fire. A few days respite, and you are ready to give up? A day or 2 of quiet, and already you have forgotten Winter Night. Is that the way you all feel? You're all eager to run off to Ilion and forget about Trollocs and Halfben and Drogkar. The Dark One is after you 3, one or all. And if I let you go running off wherever you want to go, he will take you. Whatever the Dark One wants, I oppose. So hear this and know it true. Before I let the Dark One have you, I will destroy you myself. Moiraine and Egwene's nightly talks were a sore point for Rand, so he spied on them one night, discussing the 5 powers: earth, wind, fire, water, and spirit. Egwene told Moiraine that it doesn't seem fair that men were able to wield the 2 strongest powers, earth and fire, to which Moiraine responded, "Is there a rock so hard that wind and water cannot wear it away? A fire so strong that water cannot quench it or wind snuff it out?" Egwene asked if it was the men who tried to free the Dark One and the Forsaken, not the women, which showed Moiraine that Egwene had a healthy fear of the power. So Moiraine comforted her, telling her how brave she was to have left Emond's Field and seek adventure, despite her fear. She was brave for refusing to let her fear best her, for having asked how a woman becomes an Aes Sedai. Moiraine also pointed out that few women these days had the ability to become initiates, much less the wish to. Surely never before 2 in one village. The old blood was indeed strong in the 2 rivers. Moiraine had not meant to say that. That was a major slip which will pay off in the next few chapters. But for the time being, it was a slip. So Moiraine changed the topic without saying who the second woman was. She went back to addressing Egwene's fear. Yes, it was the men who caused the breaking of the world, but they were no more wicked than other men. They were insane, not evil. And the Aes Sedai in Tar Valon are just as human, no different from other women except for their abilities. So there are brave and cowardly Aes Sedai, strong and weak, kind and cruel, warm-hearted and cold. Becoming an Aes Sedai does not change a woman. Egwene then asked why the Trollocs came to Emond's Field, and right at that moment, Moiraine's head swung and she looked straight at Rand's hiding place. So he slowly melted back into the deeper shadows, then scrambled away on all 4s back to camp. A moment later, Moiraine appeared out of the night. So Rand closed his eyes, breathed evenly, and when he opened his eyes again, she was gone. Rand then had a nightmare where all the men in Emond's Field claimed to be the Dragon Reborn, and all the women had blue stones in their hair like the one that Moiraine wore. After that night, Rand did not try to overhear Moiraine and Egwene ever again. On into the 6th day, the slow journey stretched. Perrin carried Matt's bow as Matt practiced juggling 3 small stones under Tom Merrilyn's watchful eye. The Gleeman had been giving lessons each night, and so too had Lan. Speaking of Lan, Lan rode up after one of his scouting sessions and spoke to Moiraine privately. Meanwhile, Matt bragged at being able to juggle 4 before Rand as they topped a long hill, and below them, a scant mile away through the stark trees and the stretching shadows of evening, lay Bairlon. Rand gasped, trying to smile and gape at the same time. A log wall nearly 20 feet tall surrounded the town, with wooden watchtowers scattered along its length. Smoke drifted up from the chimneys, hundreds of chimneys. It's bigger than Emond's Field and Watch Hill and Devon Ride all put together, Rand thought. And maybe Tarn Ferry too. So that's a city, Matt breathed, leaning forward across his horse's neck to stare. Perrin was not so impressed, wondering how so many people could live in one place. Egwene simply stared, and the well-traveled Tom Merrilyn snorted, "City." Moiraine asked Rand what he thought, to which he responded, "I think it's a long way from home," and Matt and Perrin's faces agreed. Moiraine warned everyone that danger had begun again. She told them not to mention Trollocs or Halfmen or any such, to not even think about the Dark One. She pointed out that some in Bairlon have even less love for Aes Sedai than do the people of Emond's Field, and there may even be dark friends there. Lance switched out of his color-changing cloak for a more ordinary brown one, though of fine cut and weave. Then, the group was told that in Bairlon, Moiraine goes by the name Alice, and Lan by the name Andra. They made haste to get inside the city walls, which closed from sundown to sunrise, a plot point that comes back into play a few chapters from now, but haste was not enough. They were too late. When they got to the gate, it was already closed, and the wrinkle-faced gatekeeper named Avon told them that it was too late in the day to be opening the gate. He told them to go around to the White Bridge gate, but then he noticed Moiraine. He recognized her and opened it up for them. Inside Bairlon, even jested about Moraine collecting down-country folk with hay in their hair, and then recognized Tom Merrilin, whom he had let through a few days back. Land then pressed a coin into the gatekeeper's hand, saying, "I hope you remembered to forget letting us through, and letting us back in, too." The gatekeeper updated Land on the latest worldly news, how Children of the Light had arrived to Bairlon the day that he and Moraine had left, and children hated Aes Sedai as much as they did Dark Friends, Rand remembered. The gatekeeper said that the children arrived on back of what's going on down in Gildan, because there is a man there who calls himself Dragon, and the children claim that this man is stirring up evil there. But the governor of Bairlon doesn't trust the Children of the Light, so he only lets 10 or so children inside the walls of Bairlon at one time. The rest of the Children of the Light were camped out a little ways north of the city. The gatekeeper also mentioned the trouble in Saldea and a big battle down in Gildan, which caused Moraine to draw a soft breath since she had heard that Aes Sedai were going to Gildan. Supposedly, the man calling himself Dragon could use the One Power. Thousands were following him, and he was moving his army east and south toward Tyr. Tom then told Rand about the prophecies regarding Tyr, how the Stone of Tyr is the fortress that guards the city. The stone is said to be the first fortress built after the breaking of the world, and in all this time, it has never fallen, though more than one army has tried. One of the prophecies says that the Stone of Tyr will never fall until the people of the dragon come to the stone. Another says the stone will never fall till the sword that cannot be touched is wielded by the dragon's hand, and how the fall of the stone will be one of the major proofs that the dragon has been reborn. Land then opened a gate which led into the backyard of a stable yard of an inn. An employee yelled at them, but Master Fitch stepped outside and said that they were expected. "Welcome to the Stag and Lion. Welcome to Bairlon."